came with me to India. In India, and maybe other parts of the world also, in certain villages that I have been, there are no toilets. There are no toilets. You go to the farm and you sit. And suddenly when you feel that it is full up, you hop further. But you don't go alone. You go with friends. And that is the time when you part with the news. So they talk and they are busy at that time. And they give each other news about the families, about the villages, about the proposals, about the divorces, about the marriages to come, about sicknesses, about illnesses, about the quarrels. Everything is discussed while performing that which is called in nature's call. This is for gents. And ladies, you can imagine. So, that is where the conference starts. While people are relieving themselves, they talk. The Prophet said, when you go to, when you are in the toilet, do not talk except for dhikrullahi ta'ala. Except that if you are doing dhikr, like Ayatul Kursi that you read, or you are reading anything, that's alright. But not otherwise. And there's another hadith which is still more interesting. There are people who know that we should not talk. There are people who know that we should not talk. But they talk to themselves. Don't you know this? People sing when they are in the bath. You know, the moment the shower is on, they start singing. Alone. Well, that's alright. But then there are people who go with Daily Telegraph or Times to the toilet. It just cannot be relieved without reading the news. Some people take their own mail, and while they are reading the mail, they are relieving themselves. But there are some people who deliver lectures when they sit, and they talk to themselves. You know why? It is human nature. Take your own small child when he wants to go for relieving himself. The moment you keep your child to relieve, you'll find the child talking. And relieving himself and talking to himself and enjoying. If you ask him what he's doing, he doesn't know. But as his bowels move and he gets himself cleared, he feels relieved and you find the child talks. It's but human nature. Imam Ali Islam has said that those who talk, of course they are committing makruh. Suppose I am outside the toilet, you are in, and we are talking. That is makruh. But one who talks to himself while he is fulfilling whatever he has to fulfill, then he must be sure there is something wrong somewhere. Because nobody talks to oneself unless there is something missing in practical life. When he doesn't want anyone to hear or listen to him, then he himself talks to himself. Don't talk. Enter the toilet with your left foot first. And when you come out with your... And when you sit with inclination on your left side more than on your right. The Prophet said this. And when you get water, when you use water, say, I am thankful to him who created water for making me pak and tahir. He created water, which itself is pak, and it makes things pak. And do not sit in the open. And don't sit before Qibla, it is haram. And don't sit with your back towards Qibla, that is haram. And if possible, don't sit before the moon, or even before the sun before you. Try to sit slightly diverted. And don't sit where wind is blowing fast, your clothes will become najis. And do not urinate standing. It is makruh. And do not pass water on solid ground, because it might make your clothes najis. And do not sit where people pass. And do not sit under a tree which bears fruits. And do not pass water in a collection of water which does not flow. And all these things the Prophet said about, and do not clean yourself with the right hand. Use your left hand unless you are majboor, you don't have the left hand or it is hurt. Don't use your right hand to clean yourself in the toilet. Use your left hand. These are the adab of I don't know what to call it. The ulama have given different names. One name is mustarah. Mustarah is a place where you really enjoy. That is the toilet. The another people say, no, it is Baytul Khala, a house of privacy. The other day I heard one Allama say it is Baytul Fikr. It's a place where you start thinking, very deep. So it is either Baytul Fikr or Baytul Khala, or it is Baytul Raha, or it is Mustarah, whatever it is. But it is a place where the Prophet said, you read Ayatul Kursi and say Alhamdulillah, because you don't know what happens to a man when he can't relieve himself. God forbid, when we tell the doctor that the urine does not come out, or when we say there is constipation and we can't relieve ourselves, and when it becomes chronic, then of course we know the difficulties. So thank him for the normal function within. Well, adab. If you look at all this, Mullah Sahib, people ask, Mullah Sahib, can I use tissue paper? According to mas'ala you can. Not for urine, but for call of nature, which is excretion by khana. You can. Provided you use 3 pieces. 3 pieces. Najasat must disappear. It must not have spread. Use 3 dry pieces, and if you clean yourself, you are pak. What I wonder is this, that a man who uses tissue paper and never uses water for cleaning himself, thinking that this is because the British people do this or the Europeans do this, therefore we must do the same thing. And then they go and take bath in the tub. I just can't imagine how they do it. What they do is they plug the tub. They plug. And then they fill it half with warm water, and then, what is it? Some bubbles. Huh? Bubbles. So, shampoo. Bubbles and shampoo, and soap. And it smells so sweet that you feel like staying in that forever. And then he goes inside. The gentleman who has never cleaned himself except with tissues sits there, and with the same water everywhere, and sometimes I feel that the man is really smelling sweet, but this is not because of the bubbles, he's smelling sweet from something else. And today I know that after that tub bath he will still stand under the shower, and inshallah he will clean himself. But there was a time here, if you look at the history, the tubs were smaller than this, and those who took bath in the tubs never took bath under the shower. And it was the same small tub, used over and over again, with brush behind, and the same water coming up and down. Sharia has said this, that the best mutahhir is water. You wash yourself. And no hygiene can dispute this, that there cannot be any cleanliness achieved as much as by water. But Shariat has made this, that you become pak, but you may not become that clean, that you become with water. So you find this is also from adab. So many things in adab Islami, very, very small, but really big. Let us take only an instance from Karbala, because I would like to see that we learn things from, although I don't read Masaib, but I've been requested today, I'll take 5 minutes of Masaib, because I believe that Masaib has got thawab, and that Masaib of Imam Hussain alayhi salam must be remembered. But since we have Thursday, a day before, and therefore I don't read Masaib, although I also believe that every religious gathering in which we remember the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt is a majlis, because there could have been no such gathering if there was no Imam Hussein and if there was no Karbala. So whatever we are doing is actually a result of Karbala. Otherwise we would have all sat here to remember Yazid and not Imam Hussein or the Prophet. But I do not recount the tragedy of Karbala quite often, because I believe that it has got to have its own effect wherever and whenever it is recited. But let us look at Karbala from this point of view of Akhlaq and see two or three things. First and foremost, on the 9th of Muharram, one man comes there to Imam Hussein from outside, from Kufa, and says, "O son of the Prophet, there is one of your companions whose name is so and so." Imam said, "Yes, he is in his tent." He said, "I would like to talk to him." Imam said, "You can go and talk to him." He went and he told him that your son has been arrested. Your son has been arrested by the government there, and he can only be released if you pay the fine. Are you going to make some arrangement for payment? Or are you going to leave him arrested, as it were? The father was worried. He came to Imam Hussein. So Imam said, "Yes, what is the story?" And he related the whole story. He said, "My son has been arrested, and someone has got to pay for his bail, or at least for his fine." Imam al-Islam said, "You wait. Just be here, I'm coming." He went to his own tent and brought his abba, which was a very valuable abba, gift given by someone, and gave that abba to him and said, "Take this abba. Go with this man, go to Kufa, sell the abba, and I can assure you, you will get a very good price for this. You will be able to pay your son's fine, bail him out, and also live happily thereafter, because it is so valuable." And he looked at Imam and said, "Yabna Rasulullah, what am I going to answer on the day of judgment when Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha says that you were worried about your own son and you went to bail him out? What about my son who was here in Karbala for the sake of Islam? Didn't you think of my son and you thought of your son? Mawla, I can't go. Whatever happens to my son may happen, but I will not leave your company." This is one khulq of Imam Hussein alayhi salam on 9th of Ashura, that he forgot all his worries and he came to assist his own companion by giving his own abba. That was one. Second thing, the khulq of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is such that when Hur came, it's not a simple episode. We just hear it, but I would like you to meditate over it, sometimes think over it. Who was Hur? Hur is responsible for having brought Imam Hussein to Karbala. He is responsible. He was in the army of Yazid. He confronted Imam near Kufa. He diverted him to Karbala. He brought him to Karbala. We know it. Hur brought Imam to Karbala, and he accompanied Imam to Karbala as an escort on behalf of Yazid. He was there up to 9th of Muharram in the army of Yazid. On the 9th of Ashura, he is still in the army of Yazid. But when he heard those feeble voices of Al-Atash, water, thirst and water from the tents of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he wept. And he thought that what a torture they must be undergoing without water for the last 2-3 days. Early in the morning, as he passed from the shore and banks of Euphrates, he saw his own friend Murrah ibn Qais with 4,000 horses, every time pouring water on the hooves of the horses. So he asked Murrah, he said, "Murrah, what is happening? Why do you pour water on the hooves?" He said, "Hur, do you know, it is so hot today that these animals cannot keep their hooves on the sand. So I'm just pouring water so that they may be able to settle themselves. At that time, Hur looked at Murrah and said, Murrah, for the animals there is so much of water to be poured under their feet. There is no water for the children of Fatima. There is no water for Hussein. There is no water for Khiyam of Ahlul Bayt. I mean, this shows what feeling goes on in the mind of Hur when Hur decided to come. Now, a person is repentant after having done so much. If I were there, I would have perhaps reminded him, had it not been for you, Hur, my children would not have been thirsty. Had it not been for you, I would have not landed in these difficulties. But when Hur started coming, he himself very well knew that he had brought Imam there. But the akhlaq of Imam Hussein and the behavior is such that the moment Imam was told that Hur is approaching, he knew very well that Hur will feel very much ashamed of himself. So he first asked Abbas a.s. to go. He said, Brother Abbas, go and receive him. When Abbas a.s. came to receive Hur, Hur had already concealed his face behind his hand, not to show his face. When Abbas a.s. came and said, Hur, Mawla wants to see you, he said, Abbas, take me in this way because I cannot show him my face. I brought them here. Here, the thirsty children are clamoring for water. I brought them here. How am I going to confront my Mawla? And when he came there, he straightway fell on his knees on the feet of Imam. And Imam actually lifted him up and said, Hur, why do you do this? I bear witness that you are Hur in this world and in the world hereafter. And he said, Mawla, have you forgiven me? Have you pardoned me? Not a single answer except, yes, I have forgiven you, and so has my God. Hur was never told that, Hur, it is because of you that we have suffered. This is Akhlaq of Imam Hussein alayhi salam on Karbala. And we have to learn lessons from every episode of Karbala this way. We weep and cry because of our love for Ahlul Bayt. But the lesson we draw from every episode is such that teaches us a lesson for lifetime. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.